I've got to share my screen with you. Can you see that?
Fuck, he looks a weirdo. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, but there you go. He's obviously nicked your gig. Apparently, he's out selling hot sauce and pies as we speak.
Is he?
Yeah, dodgy. Yeah, there you go. There's my wife in the background there. There she is, laughing away with my lad. There we go. Yeah, look at him. He's great. That only cost a few pennies, but there you go. So yeah, someone's nicked your gig, mate. Sorry about that.
Oh, we'll see. So, which sauce is he using? It better
No
be using
idea.
no dodgy other sauces. No, sorry.
He's
Anyway, look, good.
probably fucked about ketchup, isn't it? Really, he wouldn't have done it properly. One thing I noticed about your sauce, actually, the first time I had it, I said to my wife, I said, it's got like a really tomatoey sweet taste. You can taste the sweetness come through. You can taste the tomato. And I looked in it, and there's no bloody tomato in the ingredients whatsoever.
It's just chilies that are blistered. They blister the chilies.
Right.
To get the taste out of them. And the roasted onion and garlic is the base. But then, we use all sorts of things. A little bit of maple syrup in there as well as pomegranate, so it adds the sweetness.
Yeah, sort of pomegranate. You've got to do this cookbook then, because a lot of people are talking about that. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to coming to the UK next summer. Hopefully be there. There's a couple of old church halls I thought we'd take over. I know a couple of like village halls in the countryside. I thought, oh yeah, they're still there. We'll take over these village halls in the countryside and put some events on, eat some pies and.
That'd be great. The idyllic English countryside destroyed.
Yeah, I miss all that. I miss those old English jumble sales that they probably don't have anymore. But with the white elephant stores and stuff like this. Anyway, the village hall thing is a good place where we can all get together with the gathering. And I've earmarked two places, and one of them is St. Mary's Church Hall, which is in my village, where myself and Dean Mason is from. Actually, gather at Dean Mason. Yeah. And that's where I used to sort of jam as a band, and I kind of smoked my first joint and stuff like that. So I'd like to hire that hall and have a sort of mini banquet just for like close friends and stuff like this, so people can get in there first.
Yeah.
And I think so. Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back. England is. I love the United Kingdom in the summertime, and it's like an exotic country to me. I go there just for concerts and see Mum, really, these days.
Yeah, it comes something when England's an exotic country, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Well, I've been out of the UK so long now. When I go back, I love to do all things English, British.
Yeah.
The rituals of the place,
like queuing and cutting.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I don't drink, but I love going to the pubs.
Yeah, go and have a warm pint, and yeah, that's great. No,
the next thing that I'm going to bring out is like hair restorer. I thought I think it'd be a fucking good market for the gathering for it, and the band as well. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Like Jaz Coleman hair restorer. Look at my fucking bars.
Look at that.
Good.
Whatever it's great. Yeah.
Be a good market for it. What do you reckon?
I think you'd be laughing. I mean, the other three in the band could use it, can't they? I mean,
I didn't say nothing.
Because the great thing is, it's like as Adam, my eldest, said, everybody at a Killing Joke gig looks like you, Dad, fat and bald. It's like, yeah, well, there you go. It's all family, isn't it? It's all family. There's not.
Yeah, there you go. Right
No,
now, can we get back on the questions?
right.
We've got to knock a few more off.
Okay. So, right, Andrew Blunt says, of all the songs in the Killing Joke library, which ones are the best memories and why? Got any particular song that really stands out for you?
Well, there's so many. There's so many for different purposes and different reasons. I can't think of any one.
All right. So, I'll tie that in with another question, and forgive me, I can't remember who it is, but so, which one makes you most emotional? Then, in a romantic way, which one makes you more angry? So I mean,
well, Honor the Fire is one of the most beautiful songs King James ever written. It touches me deeply.
it always makes me cry, to be honest.
Yeah, I just love it, and I love the version on Magna and the Carters. But no, I love Honor the Fire. But there's many songs that touch me deeply with this band.
Yeah. So Sean Riley was asking, what's the most emotional bit that brings you to tears? So I guess you said "Honor the Fire," but anything?
Yeah, there's so many of the songs about. No, Honor the Fire really does it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Raven King, of course. I listen to the Raven King every day, so I can be close to Paul.
Yeah. The Honor the Fire. I listen to that, and it just makes me think of my dad and Noah, and it's.
Well, that's right. Everything in Killing Joke is connected to the ancestral spirit. Everything we do, and like all our dads are in the other world, as I said before, and they govern what we do, as well as an old manager who's in the other world, and these influences affect us still just as much as if they're living. The ancestral spirit is something that's very real to Killing Joke. All the members of Killing Joke, before we play on stage, we call on the ancestral spirit. It's like an invoking ritual of all those spirits who think well of us, and we invite them to join us.
What about the ones that don't think well of you?
We take no notice.
Don't you? Because I thought they would give you another kind of fuck you kind of thing, because
we get enough of that from within the band. We don't need any more. We put the demonic in the band anyway.
Yeah. Right, another question. Andrew Blunt, he's asked a lot of questions. What's the best performances of gigs, TV appearances you've ever done, and what's the worst?
Well, we'll start with the worst. The worst TV performance I've ever done. I'd like to get a copy of it, actually. It was in Barcelona. Sorry. Yeah. I'm just going to hold this for a second. Yeah, it was in Barcelona, the worst TV show I've ever done. And I had food poisoning live on stage.
Oh.
When it kicked in, I mean, I'm serious. I'm talking about, food poisoning. It opens up the sluice gates at both ends. I'm talking about it kicking in on stage, on camera. That was the worst experience that happened to me. And Big Paul, because I knew before I went on stage that it was on the edge, and everyone was a bit nervous, but we had to cut the set short. I'm not going into any more detail, but that was the
worst. Please don't. Yeah. Oh God, I can remember doing.
There was another time when I learnt my lesson about cocaine, and that was in I think 85, 86, something like this. And I did a TV show and tried to sing live after I had a line of coke. That was my first big lesson. I'm allergic to this stuff, you see. I didn't know it. And so it completely, I couldn't sing or anything. Luckily, my management intervened, and I was able to overdub the vocals later. But that was a good lesson. So there's two TV shows where it was pretty bad, right? Yeah.
What about the best ones?
TV shows. I think some of those shows with they were up in Newcastle. What was it called again? That
The Tube.
the Tube. That was it.
Yes, yeah, Paulie Yates.
Some of those were really special events because you had a live audience, and I remember hanging out with Cliff Richard, actually, of all people at the Tube, and when we played Frenzy and stuff, Cliff came up to me afterwards. He said, "You sing with such confidence, you know, Jazz." Like this. And we learned that Cliff's guitarist was a gatherer. That was it. I remember that.
Wow.
They were fond memories because we did a couple of them, didn't we?
I love that because one of those interviews on the Tube, I think it's fair to say that you and Raven might have been enjoying the benefits of the green room, shall we say? And,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he was as pissed as a fart, and he's obviously, you know, flirting with Paulie Yates. And there's some bloke talking behind you, and you just turn around and go, "Shut up for a minute." And it's like really telling him off. And I thought,
we used to get tanks up quite a lot those days, you know. And we used to go around with about 20 people around us, Kinjo, and they were all kind of friends to us. And I think we were a bit naive. I mean, we're talking about one of the leading cartels of London, if you like, and they were always around us. And because it was friends of Terry's. We used to say, "Oh, it's Terry's friends," and we didn't give it much thought at the time. But whenever Killing Joke and Party used to move into a recording studio or anything like this, everybody else would move out, and it would be a reign of terror, pretty much. Not that we were really aware of it at the time. We weren't.
You wouldn't be, would you? You're young, you're having a bit of fun, so.
That's right. You don't think too much about these things at the time.
People like Big Eddie hanging around as well.
Eddie, you know, I mean, that 2003 album, we couldn't have done it without Eddie. Eddie was driving Geordie and me and to and from the studio, and we were literally counting our bus fares so the three of us could eat. I mean, we had no advances for 2003 album. See, the problem with the 2003 album is there was no contract.
I'm aware.
So we haven't had a penny from 2003, none of us. And someone's been collecting that money. We own the album now. Yes. That's a good thing. So basically, we haven't earned anything from 2003, and we starved for that album.
But I think Good Times are around the corner with that one. You know, I think, you know, when it gets, now it's in your control. I think chatting to Nick, he's got some real great plans for that, and that is such a loved album as well.
You know what I love about Killing Joke is that all the albums that we've got back now, it doesn't matter who played on what album, everybody gets the same off every album.
Great.
You know, I mean, you know, the rhythm section didn't always play on all the albums. As you well know, we moved it around, but everybody gets the same. You know, what's important to me is collectivism, or the communist principle is practiced in Killing Joke. I'm very proud of that. And it's a good model for other bands, because once you take out the division of money, you take this out. We never. One thing we never argue about is money. We argue about everything else, but not money. You know. So everybody gets the same in Killing Joke.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud about that. Now, look, it may well be that Geordie or somebody else does more than somebody else at some times, right? You know, and that's not the point. It's not the point. You know, the point is that we're one entity and we get the same.
Yes.
You know, this is the model for the future, for a band for the future.
Well,
there's so many bands where they get to the awesome of their careers, and it's just poison between them. And the reason for that is simple. Someone's getting more than someone else.
Yeah. Someone's always looking for,
and it just poison
that doesn't exist.
You know, but you know, Paul makes the same as me. He took a 26-year hiatus from the band. He makes the same as me.
Yeah.
Everyone gets the same. And I'm proud of these things. These things, you see, this is where we can create effective changes in the idea that charity begins at home, and that let's get things right. I mean, look, now we have a management and a gathering, and like, you know, we have a management that cares about the members of the band and what they're going to eat, and where they're going to live. Now we never had that before, and that's good.
At the same time, he's creating a sustainable business model as well. I mean, you probably won't appreciate that, but Killing Joke, the brand, has got longevity. It's got a future. You know, the fact that there's never been a bigger demand for your stuff. I mean, people are literally. I mean, I don't know if you're aware, but your Democracy album, the vinyl version of that, sells for £150 because people. Yeah, because you know,
I really don't know about these things because I'm out of the loop on the modern world. You can pretty much say I'm horse and cart.
Yeah, Luddite.
When it comes to what's happening in the world, I don't even really watch much of the news or anything. I keep in touch with anything now. Only what people tell me.
Yeah, but it's fantastic. I mean, I just think that, you know, say what's gone on or what's going on. You've got all these great new releases, reissues and expanded stuff, and I think it's testament to the fact, like you say, you know, after 40 years, Killing Joke's just about coming into his own. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, I get this band. You know, I understand what they're doing. You know, it's fabulous.
I love it. You know, one by one, we'll all bury each other one by one.
Yeah.
And I like to think that everybody in the band will name a successor.
Well, that's nice. Wow.
So it's a different structure, our band. You know, our principles. I want our principles to go on long after our lives. You know.
Well,
yeah.
You know, I think actually, you know, you do have a strong influence, because it's actually quite remarkable the amount of bands that actually. Killing Joke is a band's band. You know what I mean? It's like people all. A lot
loved by musicians.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which is great, but doesn't mean you're going to sell any fucking records, does it? Because they've got no money to pay for them. But hey, that's the way of it. Now then, I've got another question for you.
That's been yeah.
So Chris Mears would like to know: would you do Killing Joke with a full orchestra at the same time? So the band's playing, the orchestra's there, a bit like Metallica did. I've seen the Stranglers.
No. This is never going to happen. I don't like it. I keep orchestra separate from Killing Joke. I don't believe in mixing acoustic and artificially amplified sounds. I don't believe in mixing them. Yeah. After I worked with Mick Jagger in the London Symphony Orchestra, I decided never to work with a rock voice and symphony orchestra ever again. And it was a great result I got with Jagger. But I just know they don't belong with each other. See, a classical singer can throw their voice without a microphone.
Yeah.
In a way that a rock singer can't, you know? So they don't really belong together, these entities. So I keep them completely separate. I think it's the worst possible taste to put a symphony orchestra with an electric band. That will not be happening on my watch. It's either one or the other.
Right. That's clear. Okay. So, Andrew Blunt, he's capitalizing this. What's been the most challenging or exhilarating part of your life so far? And I think in order to distill that in one moment, geez. I mean, I would imagine.
Fuck, I mean, it's been one long war. I can't think of when I let up and sort of stopped fighting. It's just one long war. All of it. You know, to struggle with this art form and to establish this on a global level. It's been one long war, and you have to think of a long war and a long game, and we have, you know, The gods have been kind and the spirits have been kind, and I believe because we started with initiation in the right way, that we're protected. And nothing can touch us until we've done everything we're meant to do. And so I've always felt this sense of, all of us have felt this sense of purpose.
How do you know when you've done everything you are meant to do? What do you think? I mean, because
the Lord takes you out of here.
I figured, yeah, you're not going to go quietly, are you? Now, this is a strange question.
I mean, the thing is, yes.
Well, this is a strange question because I don't think there's an answer to this. Is what do you do to relax? Somebody wants to know. I can't see you.
What do I do? No, what? To relax. Yeah. Well, a gym is good. Physical exercise is relax. That helps me relax. But I like water.
Okay. About
3 meters away from me now is a jacuzzi, and at some point tonight I'll put the jacuzzi on and put some candles on and get in it and try and unwind. But that being said, it's a rare pleasure relaxation. It happens after concerts, happens after physical exercise, and you know, I sleep 4 hours a night.
Wow, it's not an awful lot, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I bet when you do sleep, are you a deep sleeper, or is that brain just going into overdrive all the time, and you like
very hard to sleep?
Yeah.
I have a problem with sleep. I'm a type 2, type 3, type 2 and a type 3 insomniac. It's been diagnosed in me, and it is something that it's going to be like this probably always. I mean, look, being in this body with this mind, the thing is, as soon as I'm conscious, my mind starts working, and it doesn't let up. I mean, I have a very, very active mind. I have a high intelligence and a very active mind. You know, I'm a person that doesn't even need books because I tend to memorize things. So I go in onto myself, into the inner library, into the Alexandrian library in my own consciousness. A lot of the time I do this. I also do a strange creative process. I mean, I write most things, whether it be literary or even on musical stage for orchestra. I write everything in my memory. And I can do this perfectly in my memory. I mean, I couldn't do that in my 20s, but I can do that in my 60s. I can really do this well. I mean, I can do a full score for orchestra. I can write it out in my memory.
Great, because I was going to ask that because
and remember every last detail in it.
Because I pick myself up sometimes having written the most fantastic song, and then seconds later it's gone. Just can't.
Well, I've always had different philosophy to you there, because if you can forget it, it's shit.
Yeah. Oh my God, the ones I remembered then they don't stand up to much. I tell you. God.
You have to keep going, mate. It's alchemy. You have to keep shaping it until you like the look and the sound of it.
Yeah.
You have to knead it, shape it, keep working on it until what's coming back at you is to your liking.
Yeah.
It's down to just perseverance.
But how many times have you done that, and you've sat there, you've honed your craft, you've got this song, this tune, the idea, whatever, and you really think, perfect, you know, you get it down, but you know there must be songs that
no, it doesn't work like that for me. Well, now, I can't talk about earlier, but now I sleep on things. The little sleep I get, I take a full score to bed with me, and I sleep on it, and in the morning I know exactly what to do. I mean, and then when I'm in session, I can pass a full score through my body, and my body will know exactly where and what bar there's a problem anywhere in the score.
You analyze it.
I can teach this now. I could teach this to a student, but I mean, it's something I had to formulate on my own. This technique, you know, but it works very, very well for me. And you know, what took me 12 years to learn, I can teach in 3 weeks.
Right.
That's why my lessons are so expensive. Indeed, when I was studying under Dr. Sanders in the 80s and 90s, I paid, in the 80s, I was paying £150 for 1 hour with Dr. Sanders. That was then. And he made me stand on my feet and write everything out by hand on my feet in all those lessons. And I did. And because I paid for it myself, I fucking remembered everything. I remembered it. To the point now that I've had more practical experience with symphony orchestra than my master. Huh?
Right. Yeah.
So he can consult me too.
You've done your porridge.
You know, it's like this, but it's like this, but it should be like this at the age of 60.
Yeah, it should be. You're absolutely right.
After the age of 50, there's 2 types of people. And younger people should remember this. If you do what you love doing, you will have a smile on your face after the age of 50. And there's 2 types of people after the age of 50. Those that have a smile on their face and those that don't. Those that have fulfillment and those that don't. So the most important thing is to do just what you love doing and nothing else. And do your will. That's what it means. That's what St. Augustine said when he said, love God and do thy will. And do as you will. That's what St. Augustine said. Rabelais, who said, do what thou wilt. Crowley said, do what thou wilt. And it's the same message. If you do your God gift, you are spiritually and biologically in harmony with the universe.
Well, that's interesting because I've, you know, I always said to my kids, just do what you want to do.
That's right.
Don't compromise. And, you know, no one ever did it. He's never going to get the chance to compromise. But he didn't. He did exactly what he wanted to do, 100%. And Adam, my eldest, has always been a pugnacious little swine, and he just, you know, just does what he wants to do, and he's not going to compromise. He's not going to take a shit job. He's not going to be bossed around by a half-wit or anything like that. And I think that's a wonderful thing that you can, if you can give your kids that, you know, or your friends or colleagues.
Oh, you know, I'm sad. I've got grandchildren now, like you know, the problems that my daughter's having with you know, the future with vaccinations and everything else. You know, I feel for young parents, and that's why the things that I've been warning people, they said I was crazy. They're honest now. They're really honest now. And that's why we must never, ever let that drop about these things. That, you know, there's certain aspects of modern society that I can accept, but there's certain aspects of modern society none of us can accept.
No.
You know.
Well, we got to carry on challenging. That's the whole thing. Everything has to be about. I think, again, the kids, the most important word is why. Why, you know, if nobody can give you a good enough answer, then they're a fucking idiot, and you know, carry on doing your own thing. Right.
Go on, Rob. Next question.
So, what makes you laugh? Apparently, somebody wants to know: do you like a comedian? Are you, you know, do you have is it Benny Hill, Morecambe and Wise, or anybody out there?
No. The band I'm in make me laugh more than anything else. Yeah. Well, the humor factor within Killing Joke, we have a black humor, a tradition of black humor within the band that is beyond the comprehension of a normal individual.
Yeah.
And we laugh at everything. We laugh at the luckless fate of an ex-manager, to our own failings, to laugh at everything. Terrible, terrible laughter. And it's amazing in Killing Joke. I mean, I have to say, it's the only group of people that I've actually had to start a physical fight with, because I'm in so much pain from laughing so much. I just had to start a fight. I'm in so much pain from laughing. And it's only with these guys and people like Paul Raven and stuff and some of the things.
He would crack you up.
Some of the funniest things in my life, yeah. It's one of the greatest things about the British people is their ability to laugh at themselves. And it's one of the things you realize is so marvelous about the British people when you leave the country is their ability to laugh at themselves and the humor. It's one thing that I'm incredibly patriotic about.
I remember
tea and humor.
I remember driving around Oxford with Raven once, and we were just going through town. We'd been off to a gig, something like that, and the things you get up to. I remember just winding down the window and shouting at this group. I mean, mainly young. And you go, "Where's your muzzle?" and stuff like that. You think, "Oh, don't say that." You know, you get our heads kicked in. But he was.
Paul used to hate road managers. And most people don't realize that Paul was a road manager. In fact, he'd been a road manager for, I'm trying to think of that singer's name now. But anyway, he used to fall out with so many road managers, Paul. And one of his tricks was, I think he did this with Patrick. Yeah, he got Patrick's toothbrush and he shoved it up his arse and took pictures of it with a Polaroid camera. And then sent him the pictures of them 3 weeks later after the tour. He did things like this. What can you do? These people.
He did some dreadful things. When we were in the studio, he said, "Oh, you know, did he ever show you his belt buckle?" And he was just we were recording. He just said, "Did I ever show you my belt buckle?" He said, "No." And then next thing I know, he's got his ball bag hanging over the top of his jeans.
Disgusting.
Look at that. That's a belt buckle.
Disgusting.
Oh.
He's a terrible man in that way, but made me laugh.
Oh,
Rogue, I miss him very much in this way.
Just hilarious. And well, you were there at his funeral as well. The amount of women weeping over that boy. I don't know.
Oh my God, wasn't it something?
Yeah, shady character, but what a character! Bless him, really. I mean, yeah, I think of him often. Really, really do. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Anyway, like a couple more questions. Have you ever written music for your mother, children, or partners? This is from M and more. Is that something?
Generally, I've written music for my children, and not for my mother, and not for partners.
Mm-hmm. But for the kids, which is rather nice.
No, this happened once, and I'll tell you the song. It's called Habibi, and it's for my daughter Tabitha, and it's on the Jaz Coleman album. It's the 5th track.
Habibi.
But generally speaking, I'm an Aquarian idealist, which is to say, I don't think in terms of romantic love as in terms of man woman. This kind of thing is, I look at Killing Joke doesn't do love songs.
No, but you are. I think, you know, when I listen to your
symphony, I'm a romantic.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a romantic. But in terms of landscape,
it's very romantic.
More than Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, I'm sure you are. Yeah, that's brilliant. Now, here's this is quite a deep question from Maria Cotton. Do you believe in quantum entanglement? And so if two people lead a similar but separate lives, but come up, you know, together from opposite directions, do you think that there can be, you know, people who are virtually the same but have no knowledge, no existence of each other, but operate in pretty much the same way?
Yes, of course.
Is that possible?
All possible in the quantum dimension. All possible outcomes proliferate. It means if you can imagine it, it's gonna happen. It can happen. This is why I'm anti-atheist and I'm a very religious person, because religious people, what they do in thinking of the life eternal, they are creating multiple timelines. Mm-hmm. They're creating potential. You see, the difference between a mystic and a quantum physicist is there is nil, or a magician. The quantum physicist says that we are all participants.
Oh, I've lost the sound, Jazz.
Thing.
Sorry, I lost the sound. You said you can you recap? I lost the sound there.
Yeah, I lost that. Yeah, I'm saying that the magicians say we create change in accordance with the will, and the quantum physicist says we're all participants in creating reality. So basically, the future tense, future is potential. So by thinking of thinking of Rob doing every possible thing imaginable in the cosmos, every possible thing Rob could do is happening on some life already, on some timeline now.
Yeah.
That's fact.
Yeah.
It's fact. You open your potential.
I love the idea.
But this potential is not there unless you believe in the life eternal, unless you believe in the potential of it. It's the same thing as the quantum dimension and the religious impulse. It's a similar thing.
It's funny because I found myself feeling, more religious due to recent events, and really spending more time thinking about this. And whereas before I might have been a bit sort of fatalistic about stuff, now I really tried to sort of dig deeper. And when you've gone through what we have gone through, you have to have a hope. I have a problem with atheists as well, because the fact that they close their mind to just the idea that something exists. I'm not a firm believer in God, but I accept the idea that there could be a creator. And when you shut your mind down to that, then what have you got? I don't get it.
Well, it's very funny because we're talking about this because you've got people like Elon Musk, and they're saying that it's 1,000,000,000 to 1 that this isn't a simulation, right? Saying this, and this idea that we're all living in basically a computer simulation of a more another race or some other intelligence. This idea is called entropic reduction, right? And we had discussed it in the band, and youth always comes up with a good one. Goes, if this is all a simulation, then why is it so shit?
Yeah, I
can agree more. I can agree more.
No, I think, it's brilliant. But see, I've got this idea that the Earth is nothing more than an experiment in a petri dish, and that there's some scientist somewhere who's got all these petri dishes laid out, and he's just taken a little bit of something, dopped it in there, and you go back to the petri dish, 2 days later to see if the bacteria has grown.
Worlds within worlds within worlds within worlds, of course. I don't know whether the petri dish is a very beautiful idea. But yeah, if you wish, you can have that if you wish, Rob.
Yeah, and but I love the idea that at any moment he might look at it and think, well, that's not really gone all that well, and just toss it away, and then we're fucked. It's gone, and it's just that there is something along the production line more beautiful. I just, again, the idea.
I do think that mankind has taken the wrong direction, and we're clearly on a bad path. Certainly, the elites that govern this planet, irresponsible isn't the word that comes to mind. I mean, it's just downright evil what's happening now. And it makes you think about the human condition, man's capacity, his infinite capacity for cruelty, and all this. And you can get so depressed about all these things. But you just have to remember one thing. All the good people. All the good people.
There's plenty of them.
Yeah, that's right, mate. They're there. They're there. All the goodness, it's there. There is a providence of this. And you have to take this. You have to tap into this.
Well,
During the 2003 recording, I wrote, it was the beginning of the full effects of globalization, the beginning of the 2000s. And you could see it because then I noticed that you traveled to different cities, but it's the same shops everywhere, the same homogenized chains in every city you go to. It doesn't matter where I go, everywhere still looks the same. I wrote this line. And this strange depression that is a result of globalism started to really affect me then. And I, of course, believe in the opposite of globalism. I believe in small businesses, tiny businesses, and handmade produce. I hate mass production on every level. It's just a result of the Industrial Revolution. And now you have this fucking idiot Schwab talking about the fourth Industrial Revolution, and it's all the things we've been talking about this afternoon. It's all, about enslavement of the good, ordinary people.
And digitalization.
Yeah, well, you try and tell people, the 12 million people that live around me now on the street, because they currently do, that they're going to get no more food unless they have a chip. And there's vast swathes of the population are going to start starving next year. Next year.
Yeah, but
so you can laugh at my pie, but behind the pie is the need that we need to increase food supply massively,
enormously.
Look, what do you think is going to happen if before the pandemic, like everyone was 2 paychecks away from homelessness before the pandemic, and now, where people don't even know where they're going to be living. No wonder there's all these internment and resettlement camps being built up everywhere.
Food banks.
I mean, it's scary. It is. People really, really wake up, and democracy. It's a strange thing, democracy, but the rights of the individual are individual rights. I mean, they're trying to circumvent these.
They're just disappearing every day, aren't they? That's the problem.
Yeah, they are trying to do that. They're trying to turn us into cattle. Quite simply, and treat us like cattle. They want to mark us like cattle. They want to vaccinate us and like cattle. Vaccine comes from the word cattle, and this is it. I think it's a disgusting concept, but there's going to be huge problems with it. People don't trust governments anymore, and they shouldn't. The whole of 21st century society is designed on built-in obsolescence.
And the human being is becoming obsolete, like you said earlier. And in fact, one of the questions was, is technology going to be our undoing?
Yes.
It absolutely is, isn't it?
It is going to be our undoing, and for the reasons I've again explained, why it's a foolish path to go down is to be so reliant on technologies, from GPS to computer systems to chips that we put into our bodies, is because all it takes is one solar storm to take down the satellites that run the systems in our bodies, and then we're drooling all over the floor, like I said before. So it's not a good idea to develop technological systems with synthetic biology. No, I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, we're changing. It's too late. The whole chemtrail thing that started with the Bush administration. Poppy Bush was the great architect of this op. But the idea behind it all is basically how to alter the human genome so that mankind can survive in the harsh conditions that data would say that is upon us. So basically, the reason why we're splicing the genes of mankind with insects is because 2 reasons. Firstly, we can see the conditions on the planet are changing so rapidly that we have to change our bodies to acclimatize to those conditions. And secondly, if we're going to travel in outer space, we need to change the human body anyway, because you need all these pulleys on the astronauts' bodies just to survive for a few months out in space. We have to redesign the human body in order, if we're going to go any further.
It's going to take a while
in our development, and it's something that's been very hard for me to accept. But this is the future, and the fact is, Rob, you and I are the last of our species. And within my grandson's generation, it will be the end of our species and the beginning of a new species, and that has already been decided.
I mean, when you mentioned this earlier on, I was thinking, how happy we are with the concept of Google glasses, that everything is there in front of us. And, you saw the Blade Runner and all those films and all this shit. But, so all that artificial intelligence that we put, in an exoskeleton, we have it here. But you're right, your grandson's generation is going to think nothing of having a little chip popped in there, or
no, they're going to be hard. They're going to be cyborgs. They're going to be half robot. The human condition, transhumanism, is to move away from our natural biology to synthetic biology. I mean, that's the idea. Is a new species, a new species. You need to read the lyrics of the Hum again, because they'll tell you exactly what's happening now.
Okay, well, we seem to have lost Jazz. An enlightening, nearly 4 hours, can you believe? I don't think we're going to get him back, but I'm sure there's plenty in there to keep me going. Fascinating as ever. Some great answers, great questions. So thank you, everybody who took the time to ask a question. As you see, of course, it's never the most simplistic of answers. The guy really is a unique mind, and what a lovely opportunity I have. So thank you all for everything you've done there to make that a really enlightening experience. Massive thanks to Alan and Lee, and also to Carla, but not least Jazz. Thank you for that, and I really do look forward to catching up in person when you finally get over here. Bless you all. Cheers.